There are tales that should never be told, and incidents that would have been better left undone. In places far from the light, in the heart of the night, when the wolf returns to the edges of the forest, our destinies intersect with a dark world of secrets and the dead. There is no place to hide, no way to escape. Our footsteps leave their trace, red dust rising into the air, and shadows surround us from every side. We discover that reality can be far more terrifying than we ever expected, and that courage is not only facing death, but facing what we never knew even existed. What you are about to hear is the testimony of someone who was never meant to survive and never expected to see what he saw. Turn off the lights and listen. The appearance of the two men suggested that they were zombies. Their decayed limbs and blazing eyes searched for anything left behind. The taller one skillfully used his bony finger to press the cassette's rewind button, but of course, no sound came out. Meanwhile, his companion examined the camera's frame counter with the same expertise, then opened its back only to discover that the film was missing. Our plan had been exposed. They realized we had tried to deceive them, and they would undoubtedly attempt to flee and report to whoever had sent them that it was a trap. They must not escape. They mustn't. Harry and I tensed, ready to leap at them and force them to speak if they even had tongues. But they neither turned nor ran. Instead, they simply made a signal. At once, I noticed an enormous number, nearly 20, of those grotesque creatures suddenly appearing and spreading out toward the trees. I understood. They were far smarter than we had expected. They realized we had thrown them worthless bait, and wherever there was bait, the hunter had to be hiding nearby, waiting. Now they were searching for him like madmen. Harry shouted in terror. "We have to run, Rafat?" Yes. Our plan to follow whoever came to retrieve the camera and the tape recorder had failed. Had we been wiser, we would have left the film and the cassette inside to avoid this situation. But we hadn't wanted to risk losing or damaging those two crucial pieces of evidence. We had imagined that Linda's kidnappers would send a few zombies who knew nothing, who couldn't tell the difference between an empty camera and a loaded one, or figure out how to operate a tape recorder. Zombies have become much smarter these days. Now come with me and run. If you want to stay behind, that's your choice, but I can't guarantee the consequences. Look at their decaying gray faces, their burning eyes, and the hands from which most of the fingers had already fallen away. Make your decision quickly. Will you stay? No. Then come with me. Run through the trees toward the car. I can't see Harry. We've become separated. That's good. It will divide their search. 3 of them are closing in, their hands outstretched to grab any part of you. Don't slow down. Jump with me over this ditch. They're just sick people. I'm certain they're sick. But why do they behave in such a terrifying way? Why are they so determined to have our heads? It's hard to believe they're truly not the living dead. Shall I tell you a secret? The salty sweat has gathered on my eyelashes, and my lungs can no longer draw enough oxygen for my heart. Pain is spreading across my chest. It's the beginning of angina, but there's no time for that. I won't care. If I die, then in some strange way, I'll have escaped all this horror. 2 of them emerge from behind the tree. They were waiting for me. I recoil quickly and open my mouth, gulping down huge breaths of air. But here come 2 more. There must be 6 of them chasing me now. I don't want to look behind me, but I'm certain they're there, and I'm certain they're only a meter away. I can almost feel their severed fingers brushing against my neck. But, where are you, Harry? I need you. Who put this yellow curtain before my eyes? Why does it keep following me wherever I go? There's another one over there. The sweat, my heart, the haze, and so our brave guest has recovered. I was lying in a clean bed whose sheets smelled pleasantly fresh. The room was comfortable, sunlight pouring through the windows. It looked like a hospital. Yes, it was. White was everywhere, and countless medicine bottles stood beside my bed. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, both dressed in white, stood nearby, looking at me kindly. The man spoke flawless French, the kind only a Frenchman could speak. I believe, Rafat, that your coronary arteries are not in the best condition. It's smoking, my colleague, smoking. Then he took a cigarette from an elegant case and lit it. After a puff, he added, Allow me to introduce myself, Dr. Renee Dalmar, French. I am currently the director of the Saint Fernand leper colony, and today you are our guest in this humble colony. I whispered weakly, struggling to form meaningful words. Harry? He's in the next room, along with the American lady and the charming little boy. They're all here, guests in my home. He exchanged a pleasant smile with the nurse. The meaning of that smile was obvious, yet quite amusing. The rascal. He was so cheerful and friendly that I was almost tempted to call him kind-hearted. As he straightened the blanket over me, he said, "You already know everything, so there's no need for further explanations. We obtained the tape and the film you had hidden in your hotel room. In truth, we greatly overestimated how much you knew, because it's perfectly clear from what we found that you understood very little. So why go to all this trouble?" He placed his hand on the nurse's shoulder and smiled. "First, I don't particularly like the idea of just anyone looking at those photographs and saying, 'These are pictures of lepers.' Second, the photos might fall into the hands of someone who recognizes the Voodoo priestess and notices the striking resemblance between her and Marilyn, the nurse at my hospital. How foolish of me. How had I failed to notice that hard, square jaw, the very one I had smashed with my fist that night? In any case, I owed her an apology. "Please forgive me, miss. I'm not the kind of man who—" She gently touched her chin and replied softly, "It's a woman? Don't worry, my dear. Under the circumstances, it was justified. In fact, if you hadn't done it, your friend's wife would have been lost forever." The astonishment on my face must have been obvious. Was this woman truly a witch or merely an actress? And how had she managed, for all these years, to deceive the locals who understood Voodoo, appreciated it, and surely couldn't be fooled by an imposter like her? As if the French doctor had heard the thoughts echoing in my mind, he said, "Don't be surprised. Marilyn is an experienced and gifted Voodoo practitioner, but she's nowhere near capable of creating zombies, of course. After much effort, she managed to become the High Mother of the island's Voodoo practitioners and began holding her own ceremonies. But she was forced to put on this performance to preserve her authority, because the High Mother is expected to master the art of creating zombies," I said thoughtfully, "and naturally, she doesn't want the photographs or the tape to fall into the hands of experts who would realize the whole thing is a fraud." "Precisely. But what's the point of all this? Why are you trying to convince people that zombies are real? Now you've reached the heart of the matter." He said this as he flicked his cigarette out the window, then added, "And that is exactly what the two of you, or, to be more precise, all of you, will die before you ever learn." Then he looked at me with the same gentle courtesy and said, "In 2 hours, perhaps 3, you will be buried alive. What you have just heard is not the end. It is only part of the picture, a small fragment of a longer chain, where every answer creates a new question. Some secrets are never buried, and some nightmares do not end when you wake up. There are still details yet to be revealed, faces that have not appeared, and truths which, if you were to know them in full, you would wish you had never known. Until we meet again, remember, not everyone who survived has truly survived."